Hi everyone! Alright, I am here again. It is Modern as Fuck Monday. Yay! I made it to my favorite time of Mondays, which is going live and talking about things that have to do with being a boss in a modern world. So today's topic is self-expression, and yeah, I hope people will share what types of things they like to do for how they express themselves. I see people are logging on. So I feel like I'm getting a newer audience, so I will introduce myself. My name is Andrea. I'm a business owner in San Francisco, and I am a designer as well. It's actually through design that I started to think of all of these intricate concepts that have to do with, you know, what it means to be modern, and also just how I balance my business with design and how I think about everything just led me to kind of come up with about at least 200 different concepts that I am covering each week in a live series. So that is what this is now, the Modern as Fuck live series. So today's topic, self-expression. I will jump right in. By the way, I have had a long day. You don't want to know how long it is. It's been a long day, but a good one. Alright. So, self-expression. Well, so what is self-expression? Self-expression is essentially like a means of communication. So how do you communicate your ideas, your imagination, your feelings, your talents, your personal affinities, what you gravitate towards, what you just interests you. Sorry, let me just hop over here. Cool. Sorry, minor just technical check. Okay, so how do you communicate your personal affinities, and then obviously what you guys know I like to talk about is your personal style. We will get to that. So essentially your entire lifestyle is a means for self-expression. So here are some ways that you can kind of find your self-expression, because you know, part of what happens when you start finding how you express yourself is you kind of, you know, life starts to be more fun and you feel like closer with your own identity and everything. So we'll just break down some bullet points on how you can start to express yourself. By the way, we are in my studio and I just realized there's kind of a pile of fabric here. Okay, so kind of one of the first ways to start figuring out your self-expression is to journal. So journaling is, you know, it took me a while to turn around to this one, and I actually don't currently keep a journal, but I can tell you about when I was keeping a journal, which was over like a 2-year period. I would do stream of consciousness journaling pretty much every day, and that is where you just write out your thoughts without any editing, just what comes to mind, and you just write it out and you time yourself and just no judgments. Of course, I kind of catered it to, like, you know, my goals, my dreams, wishes, maybe bad habits I wanted to break, because I am, you know, very like goal oriented like that. So what this did for me is I got to see kind of patterns within what I was saying, like, and these patterns were kind of, to me, signified what was most important to me and where I should kind of put my focus and time. And, you know, through the course of doing this, I ended up buying travel tickets, and Matt and I traveled for 3 months, and I traveled by myself for like a month, two and a half months. And so this is about 4 years ago. And then all of this kind of set the stage for me to go to fashion school too, because while I was doing these like daily journals, I kept talking about how much I was interested in fashion and even like just constructing and making things. And like literally what happened then was I was enrolled in like some kind of boring academic classes because I was thinking of going back to grad school for like medical school or something. And literally like the day that classes started, I signed up for costume design. I just ditched everything else. And all of this was because I had a sense of priorities, and essentially that catered to the way I now express myself, which is in fashion design. So journaling is one way. Journaling also helps because you can verbalize your emotions, your thoughts, and it can actually translate into how you communicate with others too. Because if you write it down on paper, chances are you're going to remember it, and you can communicate well to others too. Okay, so a second way that you can express yourself is just to get creative, and this can be any form, and the form you choose is also a part of your self-expression. So painting, one of my favorites is collaging, because you can literally take different mediums and put them all together and stuff. So music is a great form of self-expression, listening to music versus playing it, that's up to you to decide. And then even like lately I've been expressing myself through science because I've been teaching people science, and I did a modern talk on proportion and stuff. So for me, even like the nerdy stuff is a form of self-expression. It doesn't have to be purely like artsy. And throughout my life, music and dance were my primary sources for self-expression. And I want to kind of talk a little bit about dance because I think dance is a unique form of self-expression, is that it kind of taps into a few different elements of self-expression. One, it's like your emotions, and two, it's physical. It's how you move your body. So this kind of coupling of like your emotions with how you physically move your body, I think allows you to really express yourself in like this mind-body way, and also to figure out how to channel energy, because a big component of self-expression is your emotions and how you articulate your emotions. That's kind of how I always related dance, was almost a way to translate the emotion into the articulation of the music. So the energy or the flow or the mood of the music, I found like dance to be a way to express that. So I think dance and movement is a wonderful way to express yourself. Alright, so yeah, I think through painting. Hey Stone, yay! It's Monday, I get to see you on the internet again, yay! Yeah, if you guys want to type in the comments, I'll just reiterate your favorite way to express yourself. I would love to hear. So you can pretty much, back to being creative, you can kind of take your feelings and you can think of articulating your feelings like through different mediums. So just only reflect your feelings and emotions, but do it through painting with different colors. So just only think about the colors and shapes and just paint your emotions in terms of colors and shapes. Great way to express yourself. And you can do that with freeform dancing and just, you know, think about the emotions in the way you want to move. And, you know, what does anger feel like? Is it like, I don't know, to me anger is like heavy and, I don't know, aggressive. So, but that's up for you to decide. So yeah, even brainstorming, you can just think of your emotions and create a mind map and like little trails, and this all just is a way to kind of get in touch with how your thoughts and feelings are reflected into something creative. Okay, third way to kind of express yourself is through your rituals or daily routines. So kind of your habits are, the building blocks for, your lifestyle, as I said, which is part of your self-expression. So, what kind of habits do you want in place that will kind of push you to be like, more in touch with yourself, or have a stronger relationship with yourself, and or even just like the feeling that you want. So, because self-expression is feeling, so if like that cup of coffee in the morning is like a whole feeling for you, which is for me, or 2 cups, or I don't know, pot of coffee, just kidding. You can ritualize that as a form of your, self-expression, your day-to-day routine. So yeah, the next one is, of course, back to personal style. So how you present yourself. So in the beginning of summer, I was like obsessed with defining your personal style and fitting it into like categories, and that was a lot of fun. That was a way to kind of find your identity and define it, and that was a way of self-expression. You could do it, a different way, of course, but like examples of how people express themselves through their personal style are like subculture movements. So goth, punk, ravers, grunge. These are kind of literal forms of people that chose to use their kind of identity and their personality and their values, but they tied it in with like a certain look. So that's just another way you can explore how does your look communicate something about your values or your mood or your attitude. And then just the next one is just listening and engaging with others and conversations. I mean, this is kind of the fundamental thing of self-expression, is it's about communicating with others. So you can learn a lot about yourself by listening to others and opening up and sharing with others, like, for example, how I'm doing now, but I'll get to that. So just, setting the tone for a good conversation, or maybe a more intellectual conversation, or a more emotional conversation, or deeper conversation. All of those are ways you can express yourself and learn more and connect with other people on a stronger level. Sometimes going out of your comfort zone can lead you towards your self-expression. Yes, for example, like what I'm doing now, when I started going live in the beginning of summer, that was so out of my comfort zone, but it led me to create kind of all of this content that I just want to share with people now. So this is how I'm expressing myself, by talking to you all on the internet. And I wouldn't have even known I enjoyed doing it if I hadn't have gone out of my comfort zone. This also leads me to just do a little leeway into school. Like, part of being in fashion school is we have to be able to communicate our designs, which is not as simple as it sounds, because you have to be able to tell the whole story and the mood and where the inspiration came from, and everything has to be connected and make sense, and every single detail has to be articulated. So for me, that was really where I got used to communicating what was in my mind. It hasn't always been easy for me to communicate my ideas. So having something like a group where you engage with others, or I've heard there are even like groups where you can just practice public speaking in front of strangers and stuff. But if you can speak and communicate to others and practice that, you get in touch also with your own self-expression. Which leads me to the next tip. Throat chakra meditation can help you with your self-expression. Just because your throat chakra has to do with your voice and your ability to communicate, and if the throat chakra is kind of disconnected, it's, you know, one of the side effects is you're not able to fully articulate yourself, or you're not able to feel like you can communicate with others. So just a side one, I'm sure you could find a throat chakra meditation on YouTube if you want to try something more along those routes. Other forms of meditation are good as well for a variety of different things. Okay, so here is kind of a trick to maybe get you more into like what is your self-expression, because self-expression is kind of a form of authenticity. So authenticity means you are true to yourself, like you are an individual, you are honoring everything about yourself, and you know, are embodying kind of this sense that you are a unique individual on this world with unique gifts, and you are fully sharing those gifts. So self-expression is kind of an action around this, that you're able to really fully express your authenticity. So back to that trick, you know, a way to do this is to kind of censor yourself a little bit. Like you can step back and maybe shut down your social media or just disconnect, because there's like a fine line between being inspired by others but also comparing yourself to others. So the reason why it's good to just take a step back and do some of these different techniques for self-expression is because it will, in the end, allow you to really, like, you know, think for yourself and not compare others. But of course, you can go and see others as a source of inspiration for what they're doing or what's possible. It's just making that distinction. And sometimes disconnecting is just the best way to do that. And it's like what I said last week as well, is like, you know, look to yourself and look to the progress you've made, because if you are doing something new or learning a new skill set where it's difficult or challenging, you don't want to compare yourself to others. You want to, you know, look at your own progress, look how far you've come, because comparing yourself to others will kind of set you farther apart from your self-expression, because you won't be able to move as freely. So the distinction for this, though, is that, you know, even though there may be other people that are doing the same things as you, other artists, other dancers, other musicians, other designers, whatever it is, other writers, you know, they may have some assets that you feel are stronger than yours, but the thing that's going to always make you unique is that you have your own style. And style is really kind of where self-expression are kind of interwoven, because you really hone in on what is unique and about you and all of your experiences, and it's kind of funneled into, in a sense, your own style. And that will always be your advantage. So, okay. Wow, I think I covered most of them. I was going to cover maybe a few challenges to self-expression, but yeah, why not? I'll do it. So yeah, I was going to talk about, you know, when I said, like, the barriers to expressing yourself, like when you're able to, or when you're not able to fully communicate with others or fully articulate yourself, and some of the emotions that might come up with that, and, you know, how you can even use the negative emotions, or how it's important to even acknowledge the negative emotions, as a way to express yourself as well. And I won't go too deep into this, but for me, I guess I'll share, like, I've dealt with maybe some more intense emotions in this past year, because let me just say, it's like overwhelming to have a business and be in grad school and also be in downtown San Francisco and just kind of overstimulated. So I've had to almost learn how to deal with, like, even, like, I would say the same emotions that I've had throughout my life, just at like a greater intensity. And so for me, I've had to like figure out how to express them almost as a way to like problem solve or ground myself, or, you know, get back and get into being focused. And for me, like, the key ones have been for that are meditation, just to almost switch the train of thought of like anxiety or overwhelm, and also throwing pillows across the room. So anger for me is best if it's like physical, but obviously it can't be physical in a way that will hurt yourself. So I try, you know, sometimes I just throw things across the room. Anyways. You know, I always want to touch into, you know, the darker side of things and the lighter side of things. And sometimes that's what leads you towards greater self-expression, because people go through that kind of experience that was, you know, not ideal and maybe really, really difficult, and, you know, it led to just a lot of reflection, a lot of processing. And for me, that's how I kind of really got into design and stuff as well, because I broke my back like 7 years ago. So if I hadn't have gone through that experience, I wouldn't be so connected to, you know, some of the challenges and the resilience that people have, and, you know, appreciative of, you know, the experiences that people are able to overcome. So I think the harder and darker emotions are just as valid in how you want to figure out how to express yourself. And then, of course, the end goal with self-expression is that you feel comfortable with yourself and you are able to engage with the world around you and be able to do that freely. So thank you all for watching this Monday talk. I will be back on next Monday, and yeah, if you want to share anything about how you like to express yourself, or any thoughts, any topic suggestions, to let me know in the comments. And thank you guys.